AFTV, DT, a really exciting game, full of lots of attacking football, full of energy. Great game, great. I'm not talking about this game.
Yeah. What was you doing talking about the Rangers game that finished 3 or something? Like, Robbie, man, I'm so disappointed with that. Honest to God, I'm so disappointed. It's like, the reality is that we do have a second leg. It's not over. We have an away goal. But that was a game where the tie should be finished. It should be done. Just like Manchester United and Spurs and everybody else that went about their business earlier on in the day and got the job done, we should have done the same. Aubameyang had 2, at least, maybe 3 gilt-edged chances. The one in the first half, second half when he goes through and for some reason he tries cutting back. And don't give me, it was on his left foot. That was identical to his goal against Newcastle when he went through and then he hit it with his left. And that was Aubameyang on the end of poor, performances and talk about whether he had lost his confidence. He's just scored a hat-trick. You threw on goal, put your foot through it. There's no excuse for it. I like the fact that he's come on social media already and said that, he knows he should have scored and that we go again next week. Fair play. You can hold your hands up, but it's not good enough. It's just not good enough. I don't agree with the substitutions tonight either. I think they were made too late. I was screaming for Pepe and Martinelli at half time. But by the 60th minute, when I watched it for another 15 and I was like, nothing's changing. Get them on. Give us a bit of something, an injection of pace. And then we go and give the penalty away. Now let's go right back to the beginning of that. It was our stupidity why we gave away the corner. If you want to go and watch it back, go and have a look at Gabriel ripping into Cedric. He ripped into him because he's putting everybody under pressure for no reason. Clear your lines. And then Emil Smith-Rowe, I feel sorry for him in one sense because it's one of those. The ball smashed at him from 3-4 yards away. The problem is his arm is in an unnatural position. If his arms were down by his side, you don't get a penalty. But because he put his arm up, we know he's done it to protect his face. But by the letter of the law, whatever the law is now, that's one part we do know. You can't have your arm in an unnatural position because you're just asking to give away a penalty. And then all of a sudden it was like a switch was flicked. And we went bang, within 2 minutes, scored. And I was like, okay, it took a goal to wake us up. Finally, let's go. Win the game, job done. And we went straight back into our shells. It was as though the players in that last 15 minutes, it looked to me like a team that didn't want to go and get a second goal. They were going, got an away goal, 1-1, difficult game on Sunday, just had a difficult game against Leeds. We'll just go home and deal with it next week. They just didn't feel like there was any urgency to go and get a winner. Martinelli came on and he was flying around, like really wanting to do something. But nobody else was on that same wavelength. I thought Odegaard in the second half, there were a couple of moments where he was pinging passes through the lines and it looked really promising. But overall, it was just poor. There was a couple of good performances I felt in defence. I thought Gabriel, on the balance, done okay. He done good. Leno didn't have nothing to do. This is probably one of the quietest games he's ever going to have. I thought Bellerin was poor. I thought Cedric was poor. Xhaka was just slow and just ponderous. Danny Ceballos was lively. Saka, yeah, he scored the goal, but he never had one of his, best games. Let's be real about it. But again, you could tell how much of a danger man this kid is because within the first couple of minutes, Vertonghen's gone through straight, through him because they've identified him as the problem. So, yeah, maybe that's a part of his game that he's now going to have to try and adjust to realise that he's a target now and that people know if you stop him, you stop a lot of our flow. I thought Emil Smith-Rowe had a poor game and Aubameyang had a poor game. There just wasn't anything clicking tonight. Players looked tired. Players looked leggy. The pitch didn't help in some respects, but both teams have to play on that pitch. So that's no excuse. And
Was
at
it
the
a
end of the day,
mistake? Was it a mistake to play exactly the same team as Sunday?
hindsight's a wonderful thing, Robbie. And at the end of the day, when we were all discussing it beforehand, we were saying, you know what, we can see why he did it. Because we looked energetic, we looked lively, and you like to reward players for good performances. That was the first time that we've picked the same 11 2 games in a row since September 2018. That is a staggering statistic. Not even James can come up with one that good. Do you know what I mean? But when we look at it on the balance, the one player we were looking at and going, oh, I feel a little gutted for is Pepe. That was the one player. But on the balance of it, it was a strong enough team to go and do the job. And the performance against Leeds was that good for 60 minutes or so, at least, where you could go, yeah, I get it. I get it. But like I said, hindsight. Do you know what I mean? And maybe Mikel's got his eye on Sunday as well and next week. But for me, like from the outside looking in, this is what is all important to me. Not Man City. I know every game is important. I don't ever want us to lose. But if you've got to pick games, you're picking the Europa League ones. And I think he's trying to find that fine balance. And it didn't work. It didn't work. I felt that, like I said, we just looked lethargic. We looked nervy, if anything. And I don't know whether there's a sense of Olympiacos in our minds. There's a sense of pressure because we know this is, let's be real, it's our only avenue into the Champions League. So I don't know whether players have put that pressure on their shoulders now because their performances in the league have been that bad. They know there's no margin for error now. Do you know what I mean? And you remember Olympiacos last year, we beat them 1-0 in the first leg. And we were like, great result. But the moment they scored in that second leg, you wipe out the away goal. That's the only issue. If Benfica go and score next Thursday within 10, 15 minutes, then there's no away goal advantage to us anymore.
It spins the other way because it means if they score then another one after that, you've got to go and get 3.
Exactly.
So we really need, you know, an away goal is good, but we really needed another goal as well. You know what I mean? But listen, do you back us to still go through?
Yeah, I do still back us to go through because for me, Benfica are poor. They're poor. They're an awful team, man. And I'm not being disrespectful to Benfica, but you can tell why they're where they are in the Portuguese league. You know, they've predominantly finished in the top 2.
They're saying the same thing about us watching us too.
Yeah, but Robbie, at the end, look, let's be honest about it. The Portuguese league is not the Premier League, all right? And Benfica have finished in the top 2 for more than a decade. It's like the old Arsenal and Manchester United era where either one of us were first or second. You know, that is it. They're having a dreadful season. Defensively, they're awful. Vertonghen and Otamendi are slow. The new guy they brought in was running on empty after 70 minutes and had cramp, and he was slow. They changed to a back 5 from the usual back 4. They were there for the taking. The fact that we played so poor, yet we should have won that game 3 or 4-1, shows you how poor they were. And I'm not being disrespectful to them. I'm just seeing what I saw with my own eyes. They're poor. They're poor, 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 poor. And if we don't go through next week, then I'll tell you something, we've only got ourselves to blame for the chances that we missed in this leg. Because it's inexcusable, the chances we missed today. That honestly feels, part of me feels like that's a defeat. Because under normal circumstances, away from home, European tie, you take a 1-1. You go, you know what? Yeah. And we've had worse results than that away from home in first legs. You remember under Unai Emery when we got to the final, when we went out to France and we got beat 3-1 away from home. Do you remember that? And do you remember we were all at the airport and the players returning like an hour after the game and stuff like that. And the abuse the players got from certain fans. Do you know what I mean? And you remember all that. And so, yeah, it's not the worst result. It's just that when I look at it on the balance of play and how many chances we had and good chances and how poor they were, it feels like a defeat for me because I think we should have won.
All right. Thank you very much, DT. And let's hope we can get it turned around in the second leg.